What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and thank you for tuning in for another fantastic video. Today, we're going to be looking at Nvidia. Yes, Nvidia had a monster run. Is it coming down? Is it crashing? Is it going to continue going higher? Is it just taking a quick little cat nap? All these will be answered more within this video. On top of that, we're going to be looking also at some option flow that we saw that was unusual for today on the 1st of July. And we're going to be diving into that here. So again, without wasting anyone's time, let's just jump into it now. All right, looking here using Tastytrade as my trading platform. If you're interested on opening this fantastic brokerage account, link in the description below. So again, what we're looking at here, we're looking at Nvidia weekly chart, 3 years back. These are all the different candles here going through here. Each candle is 1 week long. So you can see here it's had a monster run here. That previous base, again, pre-split, again, was around that 500-ish level here that we're currently looking at, around 50 bucks. That has made a massive breakout here. With that massive breakout, we run basically from 50 to around 125, nearly over doubling in a very short period of time, of matter of, what is that, beginning of the year till like now, so 6.5 months, almost 7 months, getting into that level here. Can it go higher? Can it go further? That is, again, we have no crystal balls here. If you've been a long-term subscriber, we don't try to predict. We just try to let the market go its ways, and we try to catch the trends and the waves within those moves. So this is the weekly chart. We're going to be switching to the daily chart here. We're going to switch to this guy right here. So you can see here a little bit more information going on here. We have the purple dots, which is the 21 EMA, the golden line, the guardrail as we call it, the 50 SMA, and then we have the 150 as well to kind of show the overall trend and so forth. Down here we have volume zone oscillator, which kind of just shows potentially flows and so forth, volume showing support at certain levels, and then the awesome simple trading TTM squeeze down here below, which I grew very fond of for many years of trading. Okay, going back to the daily chart here again, we're coming right smack dab to that 21 EMA. What does this mean? This is just showing some very short-term support here. We can kind of zoom in here and kind of see some more detail. So again, very short-term support here. So we're looking at potentially this level to kind of hold here, that level being around 118, 119. We did see it come down just today and kind of did a little dip in the pool here and kind of see how the water was, but came right roaring back. We can look in that much more depth on seeing that on like an hourly chart here. And we go to an hourly, and then we're going to go to, like, I could just go for today, where we came back pretty dramatically here. Basically, the whole day was basically a rip roar, especially in the morning. We ripped roar higher and then kind of just Peter paddled around. We didn't have that much volume because it is also the week of 4th of July here in the United States, which is usually indicated with just more of a slower, not so much crazy volume in the markets. And you can kind of see that here on the very bottom right-hand side here. There's not that much volume as of today compared to other previous days. It's just considered nominal. It's just normal. Nothing too insane. What we're looking at potentially seeing here is, again, that really blue line here. We're looking at 118, 119 less level to be very somewhat stable support here, because we saw it multiple times hit this level and kind of bounce back with the combination of the purple dots, aka the 21 EMA line here, showing fairly significant support. Could we see it rip higher? Of course. Could we see it rip lower? Yes, but it has to prove those levels to us first. So what does it mean have to prove to us levels? It would have to kind of rip roar lower below that line here, and really isolate itself from that level. Looking at some potential longer dated potential pullbacks, which people can say. What are some potential markers that could happen? This golden line, which is the 50 SMA here, this is probably most likely going to be coming up and catching back up with the bottom of these wicks, the bottom of these candles, to be on level support here and kind of wafting it higher into new all-time highs. And we can see that potentially happening on that's the bull case. So now focusing on the bear case, that would be the complete opposite, of course. We would see a breakdown. We would see it potentially even close the gap below the 100 level, and even the larger gap up on the previous earnings cycle, breaking below 100 and going back down to around 95, 96, which isn't, depending on where the yellow line, the 50 SMA, would be at that point in time, would have to be certain circumstances on playing out. Again, just to give you some knowledge, Nvidia is not as many as you see it in the news and being everywhere in the market. It's not the number one held stock, actually. It's like the number seventh or eighth. I have to look it up particularly. You can Google it by funds. So it's not a. It's held by some retail folks, and it's talked about a lot. But there isn't that much institutional buying in the stock yet. So we could see that flush lower in that panic sell. As you can see, it's always like stair step higher and elevator down, and seeing that potentially playing out. And just using the fundamentals and the earnings drivers, especially with Blackwell coming out, that's going to be a pretty large boost for the stock as well. Then I also did promise you some interesting options flow. So let's go here to, again, Tasty Trade. So Tasty Trade is what I use for trading. If you're interested on checking it out, there's a link down below as a referral link. Would appreciate that if you're interested on looking at that. So the options flow that we saw earlier today, that was quite interesting. Again, this is the options chain here for Nvidia, which was just a couple days out. We saw some interesting call buying around the January 19th. And if I can open that trade up, there we go. Let it load. We saw an enormous amount of buying in or around, let me make this a little bit smaller. Here we go. Around the 140 calls. Yes, there is a lot of volume and open interest on these 125s, 120s, those like beautiful round numbers that are basically considered to be in the money. The 120s are, of course, in the money. 125s are just the hair out of it. But the expected move just in the next 18 days is to plus or minus give it $10. So this is that orange line that Tastyworks does a fantastic, or Tasty Trade does a fantastic job on highlighting here on what the expected move is. So 115 to 134 basically is the overall expected move for the next 18 days. That's the options market using like the Black-Scholes bell curve model kind of scenario. But there's some very aggressive options volume picking up around 140. So $140. This is, again, basically what this 140 would be, basically $5 to $6 outside the expected move, and this blue dotted teal line is the standard deviation of 1. So that is a pretty much of a gamble. I sometimes call it a lottery shot. You can kind of see here, once you click on the option itself, you can see the pop on the lower left hand side. It's at 7%. So that's the probability of profit, which is 7%. And the P50, which is proprietary Tasty Trade technology, that's potentially 41% of making at least 50% off this trade. At 41%. The delta is 12. So again, it's somewhat very large, out of the money. The theta is very high. If you know anything about options, it's only 18 days away. It's under that 21-day threshold on potentially seeing some very aggressive theta decay kicking in, and that time really rots away on these very shorter dated options. So If that's not your cup of tea here, a little bit short dated, a little bit too risque, as they say, we can go actually a bit further out. We saw some interesting, unusual activity going all the way up to December 20th. So, December 20th of this year, there was some option buying of the one, what was it? Sorry, it wasn't even the 100s. There was, again, the expected move all the way out to December is basically plus or minus $35. Okay. Someone, there was some options buying at the 210 of nearly 4,500 of these options trading around 225 to 220 that day. I believe took a timestamp. They purchased them for yeah, $2.22 at those. Again, looking at those, probability of profit is 5. The probability of P50 is 96. So these potentially have that higher potential of profit, but being so far out of the money, it's insane. But it has a lower theta decay. Again, these are literally lottery shots. This one is substantially further even out of the money, even further out of from the standard deviation of 1. It's gone to the standard deviation of 2. So it has to be a crazy monster move for these options to be within the money. Of course, anything can happen in the market. Anything can kind of go haywire and so forth. Can this option at 210 turn in from $2 or $3 trade to $20? Of course, anyone who's traded options has seen, anyone who's even watched Wall Street Bets has seen these options just explode on an earnings announcements, something the market hasn't foreseen, because the market is not know all. There is some still information that could be lurking that we could be seeing. It could be Pelosi, who we don't know, right? Like, I just got choked up on that. That could be potentially driving that market higher. There is also, on the flip side, there is some put buying, because again, we are extended on that side. Going back to the put side, there was a lot of put buying in August. Again, just kind of getting that short-term duration. I think it was the August, let me check here. It was the August 9th 100 put. Yeah, the 100 put. Again, we don't know exactly what the intent of this option buyer was or seller. That we just saw a very large increase of volume, especially on the $100 put. And seeing that potentially, again, it has a pop of 11%. The probability of profit, that is, it's actually right at that standard deviation line. Just maybe, what is that, $5 or $6 right out of the potentially market move, the IV, the potential market plus or minus range that could see there. But if we do have a downside move, Nvidia can definitely see. If the market goes, Nvidia goes, so does the market. So someone is potentially protecting themselves. There's a lot of different things that options players can do to potentially play the market. So again, this is just information, just sharing this stuff, what I see, giving it to my fantastic subscribers. And again, if you're interested, check out the link below on Tasty Trade. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm going to be posting substantially more videos regarding market commentary, stocks that I love and care about, and just some interesting things I see in the market. All right, guys, gals, have a fantastic evening, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.